Hello, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. We do have an update for you regarding the obviously strong storms that are ongoing right now, so don't want to waste too much of your time here. Let's go ahead and dive on into the information here. Of course, as you're coming into the broadcast, if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. Get this video shared out to your news feed so that your friends and family can view it as well. Get up to date on the latest of what to expect here, as some things are changing as we're starting to notice a few trends here. We've been posting about it obviously for the last couple of hours as it's been going on and evolving, but now we'll kind of put it into more of a video form for you. Of course, make sure you're saying hello as you come in so I can make sure I greet you. Again, if you're just not tuning in here, we have not started on anything yet, but we're going to show you this. Also, try to take, now that we have some time here, don't see any severe warnings in the state right now. We'll show you a little bit about tomorrow's pattern as well. Unfortunately, we do have another storm chance tomorrow. But thankfully, it kind of seems like most of today so far turning into massive thunder showers. But I'll tell you why we think that might change as the storm line drops south. It may turn a bit more severe as it gets a little bit deeper into the state here. On your screen right now, what you're seeing is a severe thunderstorm watch that is posted all the way until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is that absolutely nothing is occurring out here on the western side of the watch. The thing is, I don't think there will be much out there. Just following the current trends that we're noticing, it just looks like a lot of the activities to the east, where the actual boundaries are. Now, that's not to say that it can't try to expand, which is trying to now, because you got a little bit of activity over here, and you got this little notch on the western side of the main line right here. It may try and connect and drop down. It's struggling to. It's just the God's honest truth there. The main concern to me right now is kind of shifting. Now, I am still concerned as this line drops to the south about damaging wind gust, because once again, we still see a lot of wind energy out there, or a lot of, let me rephrase that, we see a lot of instability out there that could lead to some downburst winds, talking about downdraft cape or decape or whatever you want to refer to it as. There's an abundant amount of that. I will show you that. And that's why we still feel like there's still a small damaging wind risk, but the main concern at the moment is the absolute flash flooding. We already have one flash flood warning that's covering Metro Louisville and portions just to the south. You could argue that there should be more down here just to the east of Bardstown, where we've gotten pictures that have come in of actual observed flash flooding in Bardstown a little bit ago. That line is now moving to the east a little bit. And then as this line drops to the south, we'll talk about a flash flood, concern for Hardin County, Meade County, Breckinridge County, all the counties in pretty much the heart of Kentucky right there. Once again, nothing severe at this moment, but if you look at your screen there, a lot of lightning ongoing with this. That's because we are so warm today. 90 degrees in many places. That leads to a lot of cape or instability to work with. Matter of fact, I believe if I pull it up here, there is a lot still at play. I mean, if you look down here toward, let's say, Murray or Hopkinsville, they have almost 5,000 joules of cape. Now, we don't expect any storm activity out that far west, but it just goes to show you how much instability is at play here. To put this in a little bit of a context for you, let's say on a typical day in spring when we're dealing with storms there, we're dealing with 500 to maybe 1,000 joules of cape. Right now, we have almost 5,000 joules of cape in portions of the state, 4,500 throughout central Kentucky. So that's the reason you're seeing a lot of loud lightning if you're currently seeing a thunderstorm. Right now, we're still looking at the possibility for downburst of winds. If we look at this map here, this tells us where the downdraft cape is. Still an abundant amount of that. One thing I want to go back to real quickly and just point out here is, remember this blue blob? We've been talking about this last couple of days, it feels like, with these rounds of storms that have been going through here. No blue blob over Kentucky right now, which means there's no negative energy over us. There's nothing to stop the storms from going. So that's another reason we feel like there's still that severe threat. Even despite the amount of rainfall that we're seeing, there's still that severe threat that we're looking at, mainly because there's still a lot of energy out there. However, there is a lot of rainfall. Matter of fact, I think I just saw a report where we're talking about 4-inch per hour rates, rain falling at 4 inches per hour in the Louisville area, and that's why we're talking about a flash flood warning there. And that, again, that could drop south as well. So, of course, as you know, it's been raining the last 3 or 4 days in Kentucky, very heavy in some spots. Matter of fact, I believe Glasgow still leads at about 8 inches of rain the last few days, which is an astounding number. By the way, just to add a little context to you for that, in the wintertime, if we saw 8 inches of liquid, that would equal roughly about 80 to 90 inches of snow. So you're talking about a lot of water on the ground, could cause some flash flood issues. Matter of fact, now we're starting to monitor the bodies of water in Kentucky, like the Ohio River and some of the lakes, like Nolan and Green River Lake. Starting to monitor some of those now for perhaps some flooding issues, down the road here in a couple of days. Some severe warnings starting to go up now on the eastern side of the line in Indiana. This kind of just hints to you that the main line, I want to point out real quickly, the main line's actually this one here. So we're watching to see how it interacts with the boundary that popped up in front of it. What happened this morning, late this morning going into the early afternoon, is we had the original line up here on the western side of Indiana, eastern side of Illinois, just like the last few days. It got down near to southern Indiana, and there was an old outflow boundary here. What is an outflow boundary? It is where the previous day or the previous round of storms kind of died down, and that died down once again, obviously in southern Kentucky last night. And then that outflow boundary just slowly drifted up to the north and west here, and that first line caught up to it. And what it did is it sparked this entire wave of rain that's in front of this. Once again, I want to remind you that this is the main line here that we're looking at that was supposed to be the main action today, and it sparked all of this in front of this. The reason that we didn't really forecast this too much is because it's really unpredictable. Or not unpredictable, I should say. It's really hard to predict with certainty in advance where that outflow boundary is going to drift to. So that's why we didn't predict too hard for the early afternoon hours. So now what we kind of watch and see is how all of this rain down here affects this line, because this line will eventually grow out to the west. See how it's already starting to attach itself? It will eventually grow out to the west here and also drop down into the state. So now what we'll watch over the next hour to 2 hours is how those two lines interact with each other, right? And how that first line has impacted the atmosphere in Kentucky. I can tell you right now, though, I'm looking at the current analysis once again. It has not had a major impact on the state just yet, but we're also awaiting from some new information to come in. This only updates once every about 20 to 30 minutes, it feels like. So we're still waiting on some new information to come in. So that's why it's a big we don't know just yet. But I can just tell you that the western side of this watch probably should be dropped. I don't see a whole lot of activity going on out there. Now, you can still get a pop-up storm or two, but the main focus is absolutely from, let's say, Lexington to Louisville to points south, like Elizabethtown, Litchfield, Campbellsville, Lebanon. Another flash flood warning just went up just to the east of Columbia, by the way, for you folks down there. Lots of rain received last night and now starting once again today. So it won't take much today, really. Maybe an inch or two, even that, to cause for flash flood concerns, just because of the amount of rain that we've seen repeatedly over the last 72 hours or so. Real quickly, want to mention that this is not our last round of this stormy week here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back up once again. We're going to go to the model data real quickly now. I want to point out to you, real briefly, the model data has been completely unreliable. What we've done each day is kind of just do a lot of science and math behind the scenes with current analysis to try to project the next day. We've been watching a lot of satellites with the cloud coverage, with infrareds, and just kind of looking on that side. We haven't really looked at model data too much the last 2 to 3 days, honestly, because it's just been flat out bad. But just to kind of give you an idea, tomorrow we're starting to look at some more storm activity as well. It could be occurring in the morning time hours once again for eastern Kentucky, and then we'll have another that. Let me back this up here. This will leave another outflow boundary. That's the common theme last few days. That will also drift back to the west, eventually getting up to the Ohio River, and it will spark another line of storms tomorrow night. This has the line of storms going all the way in eastern Kentucky, but I feel like this is probably a little bit too far east. I feel like we're probably talking about the same areas that we're talking about today. Lexington, Louisville to E-Town, maybe up to Florence, that northern corner of the state there. I think that's what we're talking about for tomorrow as well, for another potential for, once again, torrential rainfall, damaging winds, and an abundance of lightning. And once again, the same time frame for tomorrow as well. It's just a stuck pattern this week, it feels like. A stuck pattern this week. So, again, another round tomorrow. Today's main focus, I think, at this point is kind of shifting more toward the flash flooding. However, we still cannot drop the damaging wind concern just yet because, again, I just showed you lots of energy still at play today, lots of instability still at play today. One thing that's helping us is that there's not a whole lot of wind shear. There's probably 10 to 15 miles per hour of wind shear going the opposite direction that the storms are going. That's not a lot. That's also not enough to create a massive concern for any tornadoes. So for those of you that may be asking, I haven't looked up the comments just yet. But for those of you that may be asking, the tornado risk is quite low today. It's there. I'll show you the SPC's current forecast. I think it actually just got updated. It's there, but it's extremely low once again. Let's go ahead and show you. This is their forecast for now. I think this is mainly holy. Wow. So I want to show you this real quickly. We don't even have a storm going on here. But look at this. This is why we cannot drop the damaging wind threat. I don't know if you can see it very well, but look at the gazebo just getting flipped around. That swing that you see right there in the front side actually just got shoved about 6 inches back toward the house there. But that's why you cannot drop the damaging wind risk, because even outside of the active thunderstorms, quite windy. Quite windy. So, I'm going to leave that window open for a minute. It actually feels pretty good. Wow, it just got really dark out there. But this is the current risk today. Level 2 out of 5 risk does exist. Holy smokes. We might need a severe warning. Oh, yeah. Holy smokes. The dog's going crazy right now because he's hearing all the winds outside. So if you look right here, I want to point this out to you. This is what we're seeing right outside the window right now. We're seeing, obviously, let's go ahead and measure this real quickly. That is a 62 mile per hour wind gust that is showing up on the radar just next to my house. You can see WK base is labeled right there. That's less than probably a mile away, and that's why we saw that massive. Well, rest in peace to that chair. And then over here, you see the red right next to the green. This is not rotation, but the red next to the green in a pattern like this indicates a downburst of winds that are occurring, which is why we're hearing a lot of the wind speeds outside really start to tick up. Oh, wait, you can't even see my screen. Lovely. It never switched back over. Let's go ahead and do this all over again. So here is the wind gust at my home. You can see WK base is labeled. WK base is labeled right there. You got a measurement of about 63 mile per hour there. You got a measurement of about 70 mile per hour right there. Probably a little bit overdone. But if you look over here, just to the west of Radcliffe and Vine Grove and Hardin County, going toward Irvington and Ekron, you have that green right next to that red, which usually for most folks would indicate rotation, but it actually indicates a downburst of winds. And holy smokes, man! 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to go out there and fix the gazebo. That wind burst just completely shoved the gazebo on its side. Well, this broadcast has gone deader than a hammer, and not true. Still holding about 400 viewers across the board. Sorry, a home comes before a broadcast. All right. So once again, what you're experiencing in Western Hardin County right now, we can attest to it right here. A downburst of winds is occurring. This needs to be severe thunderstorm warned at this point. just because the wind. I mean, just because of the wind gusts, it's actually going crazy. Always took a beating for real. You're not lying. So once again, across the board here, this is not severe warm, but a massive wall of winds, kind of moving in toward like Vine Grove and Radcliffe, Kentucky at this point. Flash flood warnings do exist all the way up in Louisville from Pleasure Ridge Park to South Village and Prospect included in that as well. And you can just see the massive wall of wind starting to occur in the central Kentucky portion of the state. Yeah, this is not a tornado at this point. You can just tell because if you look at this right here, these are our winds inbound and outbound. And usually, if this is tornadic, you would see a very small circle of red and green next together. Since we're seeing more of the ovals, kind of elongated lines here, this is called a downburst of winds, which is why you're hearing the massive wind smack into the sides of your house or whatever it might be. And then you can also look over here and you can just see the wall of winds along that line. It looks like there's almost an outflow boundary being created. Oh my goodness. By the way, I'll show you. I'll pull it up real quickly. I took a couple pictures while I was out there. This is from our group chat. This is what it did to my gazebo. Um, Now they were strapped down, so it kind of picked those straps up and shoved the legs out. Also, those chairs that you see in the background there were back here where you see this brown patch. So they got shoved pretty good there. So it's a solid. I mean, I would say it's a solid 60 mile per hour gust there. If not more. Well, I hear limbs. I hear limbs snapping out. Oh shit! Well, oh, sorry for about the cussing there. I thought that was coming right from my head. There are limbs literally getting snapped outside right now. Again, I am in Radcliffe, Kentucky. We have limbs get snapped down, and my gazebo just got shoved again. That gazebo was about 5 yards the other way just now. Now it's come closer to the house. Wow. It's not even raining outside. This goes to show how it goes sometimes. You have your window open? I do, so I can hear it. Yes, whoever said your wind is going in two different directions, that's the downburst of winds that you are seeing. Once again, if you're in Radcliffe, Vine Grove, be on the heads up. This should be severe warned. I'm not really sure why it's not. But we're going to treat it like it's a severe warning. So make sure you're staying inside off the roadways. This is extremely heavy wind gusts that are coming through here right now. And again, that's between Vine Grove and Radcliffe. For those of you that are asking about if this is coming down to E-Town, it looks like it's tracking just to the north of Elizabethtown. So this one should not hit E-Town. Oh my goodness, I feel like that gazebo's gonna fall over any second. We haven't really looked at models. Again, that was for tomorrow. The one that we showed, that was for tomorrow. I don't think Bowling Green's going to see much action tonight. If you do, it'll be really late, toward the 8 to 10 p.m. time frame. Tabby, it's unclear at the moment because these are kind of pulsing up and down at this point. Right now, what we're watching to see is how this line continues to grow. It looks like it's starting to do what we don't want to see here, which is a bow out, which is kind of that curve that you're seeing there, which is why we're seeing the heavier wind gusts right now in northern Hardin County. Kind of looking around, doing some analysis real quick. Again, guys, time frame tonight is anywhere between now and 9 p.m. Eastern time. Time frame is anywhere between now and 9 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, if this line is closer to you, you're looking at it coming in a little bit faster. If you're looking at, if it's further away from you, let's say if you're down at Bowling Green, you got a long time. That's if it gets down there. For someone that was asking about Hodgeville, obviously you're very close to this line. It's going to hit you at some point, probably within the next 40 to 50 minutes or so. And also, what we're noticing again, when we first started this broadcast, it was just kind of this line here. Now we're starting to notice, pop up there, pop up there, pop up here, pop up there. So again, that's why we're not giving exact time frames and exact 100% percentages right now, because again, those pop ups can occur anywhere, anywhere. That was a lot of wind that came through here. I did not want to pick up the yard tomorrow. That's for sure. Yeah, you got a little pop up down there next to Cecilia. That's why it's getting really dark. Nothing really in Cecilia yet, but you're seeing this, and you're also seeing the activity up in Ratcliffe and Vine Grove. What is the pink? That is the severe thunderstorm watch issued by the National Weather Service until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Noodlehead, I'm sorry to hear that over there on YouTube. Owensboro, no action there right now. No action near there at the moment. Honestly, it's pretty unclear whether you'll see any action tonight. You are included in that severe watch, but obviously with there being no action there, and now this line's starting to creep a little bit more south, your window is quickly shutting in my eyes. I'm not going to roll it out, but it's quickly shutting. E-Town, you have some activity around you, but nothing inside of E-Town right now. But be on the lookout for some perhaps gusty winds like Ratcliffe and Vine Grove just saw a few minutes ago. I'm just talking with the folks at the EMS offices, making sure everything's all good. Okay. Well, draw. Obviously, you're seeing a strong thunderstorm right now. It's not severe, but you're likely witnessing some 50 mile per hour wind gusts that are occurring there, as well as Fort Knox. Amanda, thank you for that update out of Willisburg. I appreciate you. I'm gonna actually switch beams here because it's still really windy out there. It looks like we're still approaching 50, 60, but they won't issue a warning unless that wind gust goes over 60 mile per hour. Sadie, I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for that report out of Bardstown. Tornado threat is extremely low, likely around 2%. That's what I was showing you before all that came through there. But tornado threat is extremely low, around 2%. As you can see here, this green is a 2% tornado threat. And even that's probably overdoing it a little bit. I'm not really seeing much of a tornado threat. The main threat today is severe winds. If you look at this, everywhere from Owensboro to Corbin and Williamsburg, and then up to points, of course, to the north and the east there, all in that yellow, all in that 15 to 29% risk for severe winds. Does not include Bowling Green, does not include Madisonville, does not include Paducah. John, you're likely seeing the clouds from the northern part of the county right now. I need to thank you for the update there. Stay inside, stay safe. Lots of lightning with us today, folks. Lots of lightning, as you can see on the radar here, especially around Springfield. Look at, lightning bolts are showing up in that one city alone. Lots of lightning ongoing. Even up here toward Frankfort now as well. And outside my window, as you can hear. Really curious to see how this first wave interacts with the atmosphere. There could be more that develops behind this. But with this first line being so powerful, it's going to struggle to develop on the backside. Still no severe warnings right now, just really loud, strong thunderstorms and a couple of flash flood warnings. I know that sounded like a cuss word there, but I just stuttered. I'm sorry about that. And a couple of flash flood warnings there in Louisville, specifically J-Town to Shively to London up there. Also, forgot about this one down here for Russell Springs and the east side of Columbia. Power's out in Elizabethtown. Yeah, you're getting that wall of winds now that Radcliffe saw. This is starting to shove an outflow to the south here, which is why we're starting to see a lot of these storms begin to pop up down here. Remember, when we first started this broadcast just 25 minutes ago, this wasn't here, this wasn't here, this wasn't here, that wasn't here, this wasn't here, none of this. So a lot of what we're seeing right now is a lot of outflow being shoved in front of these storms, which is temporarily making them stronger. Yeah, Bradley, it's been pouring there all day, it feels like. Ammo we do not, mainly because again with these types of systems they can build on the backside, so we can give you a time frame of when this first line ends, but we have no idea of if anything will build on the backside, so that time frame might be inaccurate. Timing on it for Wayne County, again, anytime between 4 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, really. The reason I'm giving such a big window, guys, is once again, these can build on the backside and the front side, creating a time window instead of a time line. It is getting loud out there. I know I don't hear kids playing outside. Oh, Lord have mercy. Help our society. It's one thing to play outside when it's just raining. It's another thing to play outside when there's lightning strikes going down. Not only are they playing outside, they're swimming in a pool. Lord help our society. Honestly, Lee, I have not done much research on it. I mean, I think it's more of a myth because once again, you're inside the home at that point. You have a lot of barriers for that lightning strike to try to find and go through. I think it's a myth off the top of my head, but I have not done any research on it, so don't take my word for it. Looks like Frankfurt is getting hit now. You got hours of rainfall behind it, so I would say yes. Yeah, they're in a pool outside. Still got some high winds around Cliff. That's correct. You're still having all this energy being shoved into the storm. It looks like you have some more building on the backside now as well. So it looks like some long hours ahead for Central Kentucky. Yeah, usually I don't. I mean, not my business. You know what I mean? Kind of how we talked about last night. But when it comes to lightning, probably not the best idea to let your kids swim in a pool. I'm just hearing limbs snap left and right out there. I'm just hearing limbs snap left and right. Wow, Carolyn. Power is out in Radcliffe. I hope that's not coming to me. I'm also in Radcliffe. If we lose power, of course, you guys know what to do. Follow us on X, aka Twitter. Um, Here's our handle over there at WeatherNowKY. I believe Mike or someone is manning that right now. Bree's about to be really upset. Her swing is getting shoved back and forth out there. Ryan, it can go all the way between now and 9 p.m. Eastern time, my friend. Not just not again, just because that window is there does not mean it's it guarantees that entire window is going to be filled with storm activity, but that's just the coverage chances. Robbie, thank you for the update there. How's the gazebo handling all the storms? It's not handling it very well. I'll tell you that. We got a couple of bent poles up there I'm about to work on whenever all this is cleaned up. Yes, I think far western Kentucky, you have nothing to worry about tonight. Patsy, thank you for the update there. I appreciate you. Looking around the region here, I do see some stronger wind gusts. I don't know why I keep want to say burst today. Wind gusts near Springfield, near Lebanon, Kentucky as well. Going over here, back over towards Sonora, we see nice little gusts there, maybe 40 mile per hour. By the way, that one is Springfield, Lebanon. Looks like it's at least 50 mile per hour. Going up here toward Frankfort, when we see this red next to this green, this type of red next to the green does not equal rotation, but it does mean that there's a downburst of winds in Frankfort, likely reaching around 50 mile per hour there. So Frankfort, Springfield, Lebanon, E-Town, be on the lookout for some higher wind gusts over the next 15 to 20 minutes in those locations, as well as the locations that are behind the line. Anissa, I genuinely have no idea. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at my ditch real quickly. Yeah, getting a bit of standing water outside as well. Again, Peggy, it can go all the way between now and 9 p.m. Eastern time, my friend. Rack up to West Point outlook. Obviously, strong thunderstorms ongoing there. Might get a little bit of a break, but once again, if we can already see some building on the backside of it, so that's why we're giving you guys big windows instead of a specific time frame, because again, these can continue to build not only on the backside but the front side. Remember when we first started this broadcast how thin the line was? Let's go ahead and go back to 50 frames here and just take a look at it. If you look up here, look how thin the line was, and look how it's just grown. Look how it's just grown right over us. That's why we cannot give you guys specific time, stamps. That's why we're giving you time windows, because of the way that the system is growing. And if you look on the backside of this, as this gets to a newer time frame here in a few scans, look on the backside more toward like Evansville and Jasper, Indiana. You see some more developing on the backside out there. So that's why we can't give you specific timestamps. Yes, Cheyenne. We're getting that in Frankfurt and Lightning. I appreciate that update there. So you do have a special weather statement out there. Teresa and Lauren, thank you for your updates. I appreciate that. New subscriber, hello, Gene. Thank you. Storming in Hodgeville, thank you for the update, Raven. Thank you guys for all the shares on the broadcast on Facebook. Keep sharing the video, guys. Get this stuff out to the people. Thank you for helping us spread our information. Only thing that's really bad about this is it's occurring during rush hour. We don't really like to see that very much. John, thank you for the update. Stephanie, I hope the power stays on. I mean, Aaron, we're talking about winds that I've already thrown my gazebo around, so it's not like it's a just wind and rain. It is a rain and wind threat, leading to a flash flood and damaging wind threat. Why is the thunder so loud? Because the amount of lightning that we're seeing. You got to remember, guys, sound travels in waves. If you have more lightning strikes that come down in the middle of those waves, it can amplify the sound. Also, how close you are to those lightning strikes can amplify the sound. Bryce, thank you for the update, my friend. I appreciate you. Going to measure around once again here. Let's go ahead and zoom right in on Springfield. We have about a 58 mile per hour gust going on there. If we look over here toward Frankfort and Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, going toward Midway and Versailles, and heading toward Lexington or Versailles, whatever you want to call it. Don't yell at me, please. We have a downburst of winds there. If we take the highest one over here, it looks like it's about 34 mile per hour. Plus the highest one over here, 22 mile per hour. Looks like about a 56 mile per hour wind going on there. Just to the west of Shepherdsville, we see another gust of winds. Looks like about 55 mile per hour there. Going down toward E-Town, we see about a 31 plus about a 20, so about a 50 mile per hour gust going on down there as well. So a few gusts of winds up to about 50 to 55 mile per hour currently occurring. I want to give you a heads up there. If you are in Carrollton, Kentucky, you have a strong thunderstorm heading your way. 60 mile per hour wind gusts are about to enter your area up there in far northern Kentucky. So a lot of wind gusts going on across the board here with torrential rainfall. Rancher with a $5 donation over there on YouTube. I appreciate that. Growling in southern Mercer County between Harrodsburg and Perryville. No winds or heavy rain yet. I'm sure you'll feel that very soon if you're already hearing it, my friend. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. Pretty tame winds in Midway. Appreciate that update there. Looks like you have a little bit until it gets to your location. Probably close to about 10 to 15 minutes till you feel the stronger wind gust. And there's a severe warning now finally coming out for the Frankfurt to Lexington area. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust going on there. We called that about 5 minutes ago, but it's kind of been waiting on it at this point. Let's go ahead and go over here toward that area and measure the wind gusts that are going. My gosh, if one more limb snaps, I might actually have a PTSD attack. All right. Let's go ahead and measure this. We do see a 62-mile-per-hour gust going on there. Again, that's heading between Versailles and Midway, heading right for Lexington. So Lexington Metro, folks, make sure that you are inside and off the roadways if you can. A heavy wind gust is coming toward your location, almost hurricane force winds measured on the radar there. Let's go ahead and put a bulletin out here, or read the bulletin, I should say. The National Weather Service in Louisville has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Woodford County, Scott County, Fayette County, and Franklin County. The hazard is, of course, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It is moving at about a speed of 35 miles to the southeast. So let's go ahead and put a measurement on that to give you kind of a more direct time frame. 35 mile per hour to the southeast. It'll be in, let's go ahead and do Zion Hill at 13 minutes, Cardinal Hill in 24 minutes, Lexington Manor in 30 minutes, Maddoxtown in 30 minutes, Pinehurst in about 30 minutes, Lexington in about 31 minutes, so all about 30 minutes there. More specifically, coming up first there will be Nugent Crossroads at about 7 minutes there. So this is the strongest part of the storm line so far. Again, Lexington Metro, you got about 25 to 30 minutes until it hits your location with some 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. Heather, thank you for the update there. I appreciate you. Raven, thank you for your updates out of Hodgenville. Yeah, Jack, just give it a moment. It'll probably be there very soon. Looks like it might just go south or right between Midway and Versailles. So depending upon where you're at Midway, if you're on the northern side of it toward Georgetown, you probably won't feel it very much. But if you're in between, you'll probably feel it a little bit more there. Let's go ahead and measure once again. We have a new scan in here. 62 still showing up. 62 to 63 mile per hour wind gust showing up there. Let's go ahead and go down here, make sure we're still looking at everything okay. Springfield, you still got a nice little wind, downburst going on there between Loretto and Springfield. Hodgenville, you're probably seeing a nice wind gust going on there between Hodgenville and Sonora. You have a nice downburst of winds ongoing. I'm going to post a screenshot real quickly to the Twitter just to make sure everyone's still informed over there. 1 second, please. Shauna with the 100 stars, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you and your kindness. All right. Yeah, Amy, that's what occurred here about 25 minutes ago in Radcliffe, so just give it some time. I'm sure you'll see it. There you go, Jack. Sean, I appreciate you. This is not, this is the only cluster of storms I would say, but we have to be careful of saying that because again we have this as the main one, right? But it can always build on the backside, so we have to be careful saying it's the only one. There might be some more building ongoing. We still have 4 to 5 hours of heating from the sun, whether we see the sun or not. It's still heating up above our heads, so have to be careful on saying that this is the only activity that we're seeing today because it can build on the backside. When it gets far east toward Pikeville, I think it should die down a little bit by the time it gets out there. But I do think you'll still see some strong thunderstorm activity. Looks like the winds are dying down a little bit now, heading into Lexington, but still probably seeing at least 55-mile-per-hour winds there. Checking in back once again toward Hodgeville. Winds are dying down a little bit there now. Looks like it's scooting a little bit more south. Still seeing 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts showing up there. Again, toward Lebanon, we're still seeing those 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts there as well. So some scattered 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts ongoing, with the most notable being up there just to the west of Lexington. Again, Katie, we cannot say it's the only, and this applies for everyone, to make that very clear. Cannot say this is the only line, because there still can be more that builds on the backside. Do I see signs of that right now? Not a whole lot, but we still have to keep that chance there. Jenna, thank you for your update out of E-Town. Yeah, Zoe, I'm getting some reports that it took a few trees down. I can look outside and tell you that it really messed up the front yard there. I don't want to go see the backyard where there's a bunch of trees. There are more storm chances tomorrow. We'll cover that update. We'll cover that in an update tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Just kind of measuring, just kind of going around and looking here. Hodgeville still seeing about that 45-mile-per-hour wind gust there. Again, between Lebanon and Bradfordsville, we're still seeing that 45-mile-per-hour wind gust there. Let's see here. Someone asked about Harrodsburg, by the way. Harrodsburg, you look like you're about to get split by it, so looking like just some heavy rainfall there. Still seeing some heavier wind gusts up here just to the west of Lexington, but it does look like it's dying down a little bit now. We'll keep an eye on that. These types of storms can tend to pulse up and down quite a bit. Harrodsburg, it's already knocking on your doors, so it's just a matter of minutes at this point. But again, it looks like you're split between the strongest right now, like you're going to just see heavier rainfall. Someone asked about Lawrence County. Again, that's quite a bit east. I still think you'll see strong thunderstorm activity. I don't know if it will be severe by the time it gets there. You're talking about 2 to 3 hours until it gets to your location. Unclear if it's going to be severe at that point still, but at the least it'll be pretty strong. Sonja or Sonia, I'm so sorry. I know I butchered that, but thank you for your 200 stars. I appreciate you. I work at 5. Is it all over for Bullitt and Hardin County? I cannot say it's over until around 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, guys. You're going to hear the same answer no matter where you're at, really. No, there is not much of a chance of a tornado. It's about a 2% chance. Honestly, Cassie, we have not even looked at Saturday yet because we've only been looking about 24 hours ahead. Honestly, guys, when you have a pattern that's this active in the middle of the summertime, it is not good practice to look too far ahead, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to be inaccurate. So I do not have an answer for you regarding Saturday, unfortunately. Litchfield, it's already kind of past you at this point, so yes, the odds are pretty good that it will miss Litchfield. Yeah, it's just too far out. When you have patterns that are this active, you really just really good rule of practice to not look more than a day out. Even if you guys are at home looking on your weather apps at home, I wouldn't recommend looking more than a day or two. Even going to 2 days is too much. I wouldn't recommend looking more than the next day ahead. Really. Coming down to Boston, thank you for the update there. It's like we might have another downburst on the way between Midway and Versailles again if this continues to get stronger. Hodgeville still seeing that 40-mile-per-hour wind gust activity out there. Bradfordsville still seeing a down gust of winds, probably about 40 mile per hour there as well. How can I expose myself to this storm in a safe way? Honestly, just by watching the broadcast and stuff, you'll hear us talk about it in serious tones. You'll hear us talk about it in comedic tones. Usually, for most folks, that does it pretty good there. Just in my experience, just being educated on what's happening is great for folks that struggle with anxiety. Lexington, once again, you have a severe warning in your location. In about 20 minutes, you'll feel about a 50-mile-per-hour wind gust. What in the world was that noise? Oh, thank you for subscribing. I haven't heard that noise in a while. Over there on Facebook, thank you for becoming a supporter. We appreciate you. Sarah, it looks very unlikely that Bowling Green will be included in this. What about Nicholasville? You still have a little bit until it gets there. Wait a minute. Yeah, and you might be split between the strongest of it. Looks like just heavier rains, maybe perhaps a few stronger wind gusts, but doesn't look severe for your location. Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Again, there might be more that builds on the backside of this, so we cannot say whether this is it or if there's more to come tonight. Again, it's kind of a wait and see game at this point to see if the line behind it can catch up to it and reignite the boundary once again. So that's why we haven't given any concrete answers on that. April, thank you for that update. I appreciate that. Richmond, this will be in your location in about 45 minutes to an hour. Once again, I think you're in between the two stronger sides of it, so it looks like just heavier rains for you. Look at the amount of lightning going on out there. Wow, it's a show. It's a show. No, I think Ohio County is probably a bit too far west for this in my eyes. Again, Taylor, we can't say whether there is or not going to be another round tonight, guys. Again, it all is a matter of if this rain that's up in Indiana can catch the outflow boundary again and reignite some more on the backside. And again, you can't really predict that until right before it happens. So that's why we're not giving any concrete answers either way. Jennifer, I'm assuming you're going to the Stephen Foster story. That's a great show to go to. That's a great show to go to, or one of their other playings. Tammy, thank you for that update. I appreciate that. Take another look around here. Looks like those winds just to the west of Lexington are calming down a little bit. They still sound really rowdy out there and probably talking about 40 to 45-mile-per-hour wind gust, but doesn't, in my eyes at the moment, meet that criteria for a severe warning. Campbellsville, you're about to have some activity going on the northern side of your city, looking at some wind gusts up to about 45 mile per hour there, and some very heavy rainfall. Thank you guys once again for all the shares and likes. I appreciate that. You're okay, Taylor. Thank you so much for tuning in and trusting us. Mary, thank you for the update there. Sorry to hear that. I still can't get over how much this has grown. I mean, let's put this in motion again here. I mean, you just see it all kind of coming in, and watch how that is. So this is what I was talking about. For those of you that are asking about if there's more on the backside, this is what I was referring to. May happen later on again tonight, but we don't know yet. Watch in southern Indiana, just to the north of Louisville, so just to the top of Louisville, where the edge of that pink zone is. Watch how the two lines connect, and it absolutely explodes the line of storms. So once again, you see the top line, you see the bottom line, they're connecting now, and then watch how it just explodes the front side of the storms down into central Kentucky. So that's why we're telling you folks, we don't really know just yet if there is going to be more on the backside of this. My eyes are telling me right now, probably not, just because I think if there would be, there would probably be more action already occurring on the backside, but I cannot rule it out. Again, Wendy, we just don't know yet. Frankfurt, strong thunderstorm still going on there. You got about another hour of rainfall until this first initial wave kind of just edges out of your area. Ruth Ann, thank you for that update there. We appreciate you. Because at different layers of the atmosphere, Caitlin, you can have storms, you can have motions going different ways. So, like, for example, above our atmosphere or, a few thousand feet up, you can have winds going one way, right? And the storm motion at the ground is going a different way. That's usually what indicates, some type of severe weather going on or stronger thunderstorms going on, which is the result that we're seeing now. The window for storms is anytime between 4 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. We don't know if any more is going to develop on the backside of this or if it will not. So that's why we're not giving any concrete answers. It looks like the first wave is starting to edge itself out of central Kentucky a little bit, creating some wind gusts up to about 40 to 50 mile per hour so far. Down there just south of Hodgeville, heading toward Campbellsville, be on the lookout there. It looks like we might have a downburst of wind starting to occur just to the southwest of Raywick, just to the southeast of Hodgeville, heading toward the Campbellsville and Bradfordsville area. Looking at about a 50 to maybe approaching 55 mile per hour wind gust starting to ramp up there. Going up here toward Lexington, those winds have seriously calmed down there. Looking at about a 35 to maybe 45 mile per hour wind gust heading into Lexington Metro. Elsewhere, not seeing any more bursts. Actually, up here going out of Carrollton now, heading toward Owenton, we're seeing the 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts going on there. So might need to be severe warned up there soon if that continues on future scans. And again, that will head down toward Owenton, Kentucky, here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, Jack, you can always send them to our inbox on Facebook. Gene, thank you for that update. I appreciate you. Has the temperature gone down? I'm sure it has. I mean, I could pull it up here for you. There you go. And sometimes these take a little while to update here, but it looks like the temperature is already dropping. For that person I was asking about E-Town, you're down to 74 degrees, whereas about an hour ago you were at 91 degrees. So about a 17-degree drop there over that span of about an hour. Oh, thank you so much, Monticello. You're quite a bit far southwest of this. You might get hit by the edge of the line, but it's way too close to call. But just be on the lookout for some storm activity in about an hour and a half. But again, it might miss you because that's a really look how they're tracking. So I mean, you're really close to it, but it looks like it might just miss you unless it turns. Want to give a quick shout out real quick if you have any storm damage or water damage. I know we are partners with them, but I also want to just talk to you more on just like, hey, they're a great team. We've worked with them before. So make sure you hit up Serve Pro Team Cox. Their number is 270-360-0448. I'll put that in the chat there for you. They're phenomenal at getting rid of water damage and storm damage. I mistyped that. You can save that if you want. That's up to you, of course. But they're just great people that know how to take care of folks, and they're one of the best teams that ServPro has. That's why they keep getting called to other states to help them out. So make sure you hit them up if you have any type of damages that you want to have taken care of. Yeah, we've been noting the one in Hodgeville for the last 20 minutes or so on the south side of Hodgeville. You got some nice wind gusts going on there. It looks like about 50 mile per hour. Not quite severe, but in our eyes, probably the strongest wind gust right now is just between Hodgeville and Campbellsville. Yeah, I don't think Western Kentucky is going to see anything today. Wayne County is going to be really close, but I think you probably missed this one. Whoever's asking about Wayne County. Whoever was asking about McKees, right here, I finally found it. By the way, guys, just a heads up. If you know you probably live in a small town where I have to zoom in this much, if you would be so kind to give me a bigger city that's near you, for example, whoever said McKee could have said Berea or London, and I could have found it a little bit better. Just give me a heads up so I can get to your question a little bit faster so you're not having to wait around. But McKee, you're going to see the storm activity here probably about an hour, 50-mile-per-hour wind gust being the main threat there. Someone asked about Georgetown. It's up here. They're going to probably... You're just missing out on the higher wind gust, in my opinion, probably just to your south there. Probably looking at heavy rain showers and a lot of lightning involved with it, and probably about an hour of rainfall behind that. Again, we cannot say if this is the only line of storms today, guys. There might be some more that builds on the backside of this, so we cannot give you a definitive answer right now. Breckenridge County, you're currently clear, maybe clear for the rest of the night, but once again, we don't know if any more is going to build on the backside of this, so it's more of a wait-and-see game. Same thing that I just said for Breckenridge County can be applied to your E-Town question, Sharon. Again, we don't know if any more is going to be applied on the backside of this, or pop up on the backside of this, so we don't know if this is it for tonight, or if there's more on the way. Right now, it doesn't look like there's any more building on the backside of it, but if you look on the left side of your screen here, I'll go ahead and put it onto the main view. If you see this right here, this is an outflow boundary. So this is what we've been dealing with the last 3 days, when we've seen all this repeated patterns of storms. Any type of storm that can get going, any type of little line that can get going up here, may come down here and interact with that boundary and ignite it all up again, and now we're dealing with another round tonight. So that's why we cannot give you guys a definitive answer. We're seeing the outflow boundary there, but it's all about if something sparks that boundary. Basically, think of it like this. Anytime a storm comes through, it almost always leaves some sort of boundary. Okay? And think of that boundary like a line of gas that you've poured on your sidewalk outside. All it takes, if you have a line of gas, right? I'm trying to find something that I can do this with. Let me take a lift from my water bottle real quick. If you have a line of gas, let me pull up my camera so I can make sure you guys can see all correctly. You have a line of gas, right? And you pour it out of your gas can. It's laying on the sidewalk. All it takes is you to take one match to one side of that gas line, and you've ignited the whole line. So that's what we're dealing with when it comes to outflow boundaries. Is you can have literally the smallest storm in the world, right? And it gets to that outflow boundary. Now you've lit up that whole outflow boundary, and now you're talking about another round of storms tonight. So that's why we haven't given you guys any definitive answers on if there is another round or not, because we just don't know if it's going to be anything that sparks that outflow boundary. We can see it on the radar right there, right? But we don't know if anything's going to spark it. No, April, we do see more storm activity tomorrow and potentially Friday. What about Cynthiana? You'll see some strong thunderstorm activity, 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts being the main threat there, with perhaps the potential for flash flooding. And that'll be in your area here very soon and last probably for about an hour. All right, it is break time, in my opinion. I have not eaten yet today. We're going to go eat. I think that this will probably be allowed to expire up here. We can already tell because they put out a special weather statement in front of it. Usually 9 times out of 10, that means that this thing's either getting canceled or they're going to allow it to expire. So that would mean there are no severe warnings. Quite frankly, guys, just be on the lookout. If you're anywhere between, Critton, the Dry Ridge, Cynthiana, Lexington, Richmond, Berea, Danville, Campbellsville, Columbia, Somerset, London, Richmond, Irvine, even going up toward Maysville, you're going to see some strong thunderstorm activity. It's going to sound a lot worse than what it actually is, because if you look at your screen there, you're seeing a lot. Hey, why does it keep trying to run ads on YouTube? Skip. But you're seeing a lot of lightning. Remember that lightning does not always equal severe weather. So even if it sounds really bad or looks really bad, doesn't necessarily mean that it's a severe storm, right? And our criteria is usually to be only live when there's severe weather. There's no really severe weather in my eyes right now. Of course, if that changes, we'll be back on the broadcast here with you guys. Just be on the lookout for some strong thunderstorm activity for the rest of the night. Outside of that area, so again, this being the main area right now, over the next hour or two for the main impacts, right? Outside of that, places like Glasgow, Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Madisonville, Murray, Paducah, Owensboro, Henderson, E-Town, Radcliffe, Louisville, anywhere that's outside of that circle on the left side, Right now, what we're watching to see if there are any more backside storms that develop for you potentially later on tonight. Right now, we do see the outflow boundary. You can even see it on this radar. That's how strong it is. We do see the outflow boundary right here. The question is there going to be anything that moves over from the west to interact with that boundary and light it all up and let it all go again? If you're west, like at Owensboro, Henderson, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Paducah, Murray, and far western Kentucky, I don't think you see anything tonight. If you're in Bowling Green, Glasgow, Litchfield, any place in between like Ohio County as well, kind of 50-50 for you. If you're Radcliffe, E-Town, Louisville, Frankfort, Campbellsville, Lexington, wondering if you're going to see a second round, it all depends on whether that outflow boundary does. So, once again, I think some wind gusts are definitely likely. Obviously, we're seeing this storm down here for Campbellsville now, severe warned, although it does not look like it's producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. It is severe warned at this point for Campbellsville and Greensburg, and we're also seeing the dying severe warning over here toward Lexington. But overall, the severe threat is just not high right now. It's marginal, quite honestly with you. It's marginal. But severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Greene, Taylor, and I believe this is probably Adair County or Marion County. LaRue, Marion, Hart, and Taylor County in central Kentucky until 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, so that's 25 more minutes once again for some 55 to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the stuff that you've already been seeing, really. But just kind of put an official warning out for it. I'm going to go eat dinner, take a break. I'm still going to be able to post for you on the pages and whatnot. And I promise you, if anything is life-threatening and stuff, the broadcast and everything is ready to go. We'll hit go live again. But again, right now, it's more of a wait-and-see game on things. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Until next time, stay safe.